Okay, Sas. So firstly, Sas, thank you so much for offering your time to participate in this study and to speak with me and sharing your knowledge about this. So as you know, I have already like discussed with you why are we conducting this interview. This is to know more about digitization of HR and HR analytics. So the questions that I would like to ask you today would be like open-ended questions, and for the most part, it's like general questions about the digitization topic. And you can ask me any questions at any part of the interview, at any point of the interview. You okay, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So the first thing I would like want to know, like before we start, is can you like tell me a bit about yourself and your current role, your background, your work experience, and how long you have been working with this company?
Sure. I'm presently associated with Accelera Knowledge Solutions, which is an associated company of GBK Biosciences.
Okay.
Been with this organization for 4 years now,
Okay.
and my role here is business partnering
Okay.
and employee relations. That has been my core. Employees have been my passion throughout,
Okay.
and where I exercise my passion and my feelings there.
Okay.
End-to-end life cycle of an employee, starting from onboarding till the time one continues his or her tenure with us.
Okay.
I'm a friend, a mentor, a guide, an HR for them.
Okay. So what are your main responsibilities in your roles, as like what do you deal with on daily basis, and what are your like main responsibilities you have to deal with?
Yeah, in brief about my role, employee relations, this word elaborates it rather. And it is basically understanding the employees, keeping them engaged, filling that bridge between the management and the employees, the ground level.
Okay.
Uh, maintaining that trust and that bond so that they feel valued while staying associated with our organization.
Okay.
And for organization at the same time retaining the proven talents.
Okay.
That is a for the organization, because losing each talent means that talent goes with the knowledge that he acquires during his stay with us. He
True.
cannot squeeze that out.
True. Yeah.
So basically in and out, it is bridging between the ground level
True. Okay.
through various activities.
Yeah. Mm. And could you like tell me more about your organization and what industry it is in, what kind of business, and the work size, and all about your organization?
Sure. My present organization is into pharma informatics,
Okay.
and it started initially, it evolved from GVK Biosciences. GVK Biosciences is more into lab work. They are into lab science. They
Okay.
work on research and discovery services and drug manufacturing.
Okay.
And
Okay.
then the data people started 2 years after the establishment of GVK Biosciences, where it was the skill sets for lab scientists versus data scientists are totally different, though the core knowledge is the same, the core subject is the same. And
Okay.
hence the data group started in 2001, and which is now standing as an independent entity called Accelera. So
Okay.
database being our master product into various domains of life sciences, including IT development of applications. We are into direct and indirect IT as well.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, thank you for this information, Sas. So
And in
yeah.
terms of the employee size,
Yeah.
we are closing 800 plus now.
Okay. Oh, okay.
It bumped up even higher, and then some seasonal projects always get closed, within few months of time, and all that is why that up and down happens. Our maximum raise in terms of our employees went up to 960, and now we are again 800
That's
plus.
huge. Yeah. True. Okay. And what is your workforce composition, Sas? Like, what kind of backgrounds you choose to hire?
Yeah, so coming to the composition of talent pool here, we basically look forward to people with life science background, so any domain of life sciences, at least, who have completed their postdoc fellowships and they take up the scientific writing and deep domain projects here in Excella. So we have about 20 plus PhDs over here.
Oh, okay.
And majority of our workforces are masters in any of those life sciences domains. It could be pharmaceutics, it could be pharmacology, it could be chemistry, various domains of chemistry, physical chemistry, applied chemistry, modern chemistry, organic, inorganic chemistry, etc.
Okay.
And at the same time, biomarkers, life sciences, bioinformatics.
Okay.
These are
So basically, all the science background you hire.
And for the technology partners, we look forward for those into deep machine learning.
Okay.
And analytical skills.
Okay. Okay, thank you for this information, Saz. So the first question, like getting off into the interview, now the first question is, HR digitalization, it has been a journey. Like, could you tell me about the HR digitalization journey in your organization? So what are the key HR functions that you have digitalized? I know you might have seen, you have a lot of experience, so you might have seen the traditional HR and the HR like transforming. So I guess even in Excella it is like that. They have seen, Excella has seen traditional HR and it has been transformed. So like, what are the key HR functions you have digitalized?
Right. So let me first give a brief about the HR digitalization and how this transformation has started.
Okay.
So initially, HR was seen as an emotional corner in any of the organizations who connect emotionally with the employees, nurturing their softer parts.
Okay.
And, at that point of time, HR was never seen as a business partner. They were always seen as a cost center by the management.
Okay.
While it was very critical at that point of time also. Okay. And then slowly when HR started taking interest into the core business, understand what actually the organization does, what is the input, what is the output, what kind of resource analysis and management to be taken care, and what is the strategy to be applied, and HR started stepping into those things. HR has transitioned its role from a cost center to a business partner.
Okay. Okay.
And digitalization, yes, that emotional connect with the employee, while that continues, that is important, and emotional connect cannot be replaced with machine work.
True.
At the same time, we need to see how strategic we can be, how fast the information are at our fingertips, and for that, technology is the utmost destination. True. And hence digitalization came into picture. So in our organization, just giving you a raw example. Okay. So if there is any finding going on against any employee. Okay. So getting to the strong room, getting his physical file. The physical file may be about 15 years old. Every year, sort of papers getting into that file from the time of his association with the organization. So you can understand the condition of that physical file. Yeah. And at the same time, from a legal compliance, you have to return the physical file.
8 years or something, right?
Those compliances. So we started digitizing the files, and there was a scanning project that was done. We asked our technology partners to give us the space, and this should be a continuous journey. So the backlog was completed, and now we are continuing with that legacy. This is just a raw example. Okay. Now, unless there is a court order that the physical file has to be produced, we don't need to touch the physical file.
True.
We have everything.
So the physical file is more safe now, and the condition of the file is safer than before.
Yes, yes. It's getting less pampered.
Okay. So it's like it's like someone on the day, if you're onboarding someone on day one, so you collect all the documents from that person, and then your HR team will scan the file. That's how it is, right?
Yes, yes. Another example would be the onboarding piece, which was, way back we started working together as a team, but it was like off and on, it was not clicking. Yeah. So now that has started, and we have reduced the paperwork. Okay. So 2 days for the onboarding, the online link is sent to the candidate. They take their own time to fill that document, submit it, and upload all the required documents there.
Yeah.
And they actually come for onboarding. We just take printouts and take their physical signature on those.
Okay.
So the paper is almost done. And the soft copies are easy for us to get dumped in the electronic files as well.
Yeah, that's like half of your work is done even before.
Reduce the resource management, where 2 to 3 resources were involved earlier in completing a filing, documentation, and onboarding of an employee. Now, which is managed by one single resource.
Yeah, where the candidate will just send you the required documents even before he or she onboards, and then your half of your work is already done there.
Yes. And it is working pretty good. So we have built those platforms now.
So basically you have seen this process, especially the onboarding process from like where it started, like the employee coming day one and then filling the documents, giving it to you and you storing it, and then you started digitizing it, and now it is like the employee is sending it to you even before he onboards. So that's
exactly.
huge. That's like a huge transformation, I would say.
Yeah. And this has also arrested some of the follow-ups. So earlier we used to give them a checklist, and half of the documents they used to bring, half of the documents we keep following up. Yeah. And until the file is complete, we are not compliant with the laws, with the compliances. Now the platform that we use, until all the fields are met, it doesn't allow you to submit your onboarding.
True.
So you are bound to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So what type of HR technologies or platforms are using right now, Sas?
So we are using one single stop for all HR shop.
Okay.
So we have HRMS tool where it starts from recruitment.
Okay.
Onboarding.
Okay.
Attendance, leave management, performance management.
Okay.
Social.
Okay.
Social, referrals, everything on one platform.
Okay. Okay.
Even surveys and feedbacks are on the same platform.
Okay. So can you like disclose or something, like even only if you can disclose what is the technology or something you're using right now?
Yeah, we are using Darwinbox.
Okay. Okay.
So initially when we started only by taking their attendance module. And then now we have moved everything there slowly, and it has become one tried and tested model for us now.
Okay. So when it comes to attendance also, so initially how Accelera was dealing with employees' attendance? Like, is it like they have to like sign in or something on a paper, or like how was it?
Yeah, no, the paperwork was abolished long back, even before I got myself associated with this organization.
Okay.
They used to have physical ID cards, which they used to swipe.
Okay.
And later on, we moved to biometric systems because certain flaws were observed where I'm going to come to us late, you take my ID card and swipe. So that was hitting the activity where the employee is showing his attendance, whereas he is physically not present in office.
True.
And to address these flaws, to make it more authentic, we have introduced biometric systems. So now we have those fingerprints. And for that, again, a set of NDAs and compliances have to be lodged with government officials.
Okay.
Because when you enter the biometrics, it's a sensitive information.
True. Okay.
So, and now the biometric system is working fine.
Okay.
The biometric system talks to the Darwinbox, one punch there, and it gets updated here in the system.
Okay. So, how did you go about, selecting this supplier, the Darwinbox? How did you actually choose this one?
Yeah, we tested few such tools, such products, along with the quotations. It was a trial and error, and we tried, sample testing for a period of time. And then finally, with a comparative study of these various features versus the budget-friendly offer, we have picked, and we found this vendor to be more keen to understand the client needs
Okay.
And,
Needs.
though they are also not too old in the market, but then they have evolved with very good gesture,
Okay.
and they are maintaining a very good clientele now.
Okay. So,
And at the same time, when we did the testing, our parent company like GVK Biosciences, they also did the testing and they also adopted the same,
okay.
and it's working fine.
Okay. That's great. So, Shaz, like, what do you believe were the key drivers or key enablers of digitizing HR?
One is the sharp analytical skills. You need to have your thoughts in place
Okay.
where things can be simple and faster.
Simple and faster. Okay.
Simple and faster. How innovative. How do you assess your everyday, the steps that you follow to achieve a particular work every day? You keep assessing that. Maybe initially you do 10 steps and then you reduce it to 7 steps, and you'll still find that 2 steps can be removed.
True.
And that is what is the source of core digitalization.
Yeah. So, like, especially the simple part is very true. Like, employees, the more simple it is, the more employees will understand it. The more clumsy it is, they won't adapt to the technology. Maybe.
Yeah. So a digital HR cannot be rudimentary or saturated in his or her thoughts. They have to keep thinking in a progressive manner. What I am doing today in 2 hours, how can I do it in 1 hour? And you keep thinking on those lines, innovations keep coming to your gray cells, and then
True, Sas.
bring the implementation as your management supports with the budgets and whatever required.
Yeah. Okay. So, what were the barriers for HR digitalization at Accelera?
Sorry, pardon the question.
What do you believe were the key barriers for this digitalization of HR?
Barriers, see, anything new when you try to bring in on the table, there would be resistance.
True.
And HR is more about dealing with people rather than dealing with systems.
Yeah.
So when you talk about bringing innovations or digitizing things,
Yeah.
you are talking about bringing some systems.
Yeah.
So that is where the resistance comes from people first, because they like those emotional connect and the rudimentary way of doing things.
Yeah. True.
So this is one barrier, and when it comes to system, you can easily change the nuts and bolts and the system forms to a new one.
Yeah.
But when it comes to people, a single stroke doesn't work.
Yeah.
So you need to apply different strokes for different folks.
Okay.
Resistance is one big barrier.
Yeah. Resistance.
And the budget, and then you have to keep explaining what is going to be the ROI of this investment, because life was going cool. Everything was going fine. You want to do it, and how is it going to give us a return?
True. Yeah. So, so resistance and emotional connect and ROI are like the biggest barriers, you would say.
Yes.
Okay. So, what did your organization do to solve these barriers, or how do you think like the upcoming organizations who are trying to digitize, how can they solve these barriers effectively?
I believe in inclusiveness. So we include people, we allow them to ideate, share their opinion, involve them in decision making. We form core committees, and we pay attention to each and every voice that comes.
Okay.
That makes them feel inclusive, and slowly we see that the path is getting cleared.
Okay.
You cannot enforce. When it comes to people, you cannot enforce.
True. So whenever you're like planning to digitize something or anything, you have to take suggestions from your employees and see how they are reacting and what do they want actually. That is what you mean, right?
Yes. And when you plan to involve people in decision making, you need to have your route plan in place, where how it was before, how it is going to be if implemented, what are the pros and cons, and long run, how it is going to give us a better return.
Okay.
So you have your route plan in place, because once you start involving people, you need to be ready to answer or address their queries.
Okay. So like when you introduce this technology called Darwin Box in your organization, how did your employees react to this new technology? Because you said you were using a technology which was there even before, like GVK was using it, and then even Accelera adopted the same thing. So when you introduced Darwin Box, how did your employees react?
Yeah, as usual, resistance was there. People said it is too micromanaged. It counts for each and every second being late or away from the system.
Okay.
It's micromanagement. It doesn't allow the human factor to work naturally.
Okay. So how did you happen to like deal with this change in your organizations as the
So
change?
we started doing road shows and then addressing people through focus group discussions.
Okay.
Same time, slowly making them understand how is it going to be helpful for the organization as well as for them.
Okay.
If someone's 5 minutes is getting accounted, there would be somebody who is taking a leeway of it. So to bring them all on a uniform platform, this is required.
Yeah, like you will have to.
At one point of time, you need to bind everyone on a single line.
Point. Yeah.
Slowly it got through.
Okay. So now it's like all fine. Like they got used to the technology right now.
Yes, and we have given the flexi. We have given the flexi too.
Okay.
So see, as an HR to keep micromanaging, say 800 or 1,000 people is not feasible. Definitely there are going
Definitely
to
not.
be,
Yeah.
each manager or each frontline leader is going to have 15, 20 resources with them. It is easy for them to keep an eye on them. So certain authorities were given to the managers.
Okay.
And they know it, and even the manager cannot be biased because it is one of his KRAs too, how he is managing his workforce. So each manager, we have given them an authority that you manage your small organization. Your 20 people are your organization. We will not go there unless something we see great.
Okay.
Things went. Flexis were given and things went good. But again, flexis have to be having a bind rule. It cannot be haywire. Otherwise, you open a Pandora's box and then everything goes out of your control.
Yeah.
You have given defined flexis. Within that flexis, the managers, they exercise their organizational power.
Okay. So, you said onboarding was one of the key functions which you have digitalized. So, how is the performance management parts as? How is it before digitalization and after digitalization?
Performance management was all on Excel sheet.
Okay.
And transparency being one of our core values, Excel sheet is definitely not an authentic platform. And not an ethical platform either, because you depend on human. And there could be possibility whether deliberately or undeliberately, possibilities of errors were there.
Yeah.
And there would be a chunk of people who would be taking advantage of those possibilities.
Yeah.
Very difficult. So you know something is happening wrong, but you cannot do anything because you don't have appropriate tools. You are depending on manual functioning.
Yeah. So how's it now, Sas?
It is totally on Darwin Box. So employees, they discuss their key responsibility areas with their managers. Whatever is agreed, they themselves upload it. Or sometimes they want to help us from backend. We also do, but material is given by them. So totally transparent between the manager, the employee, and the overall business. Okay. And then each of them, what they are achieving out of that. Okay. That goes into a tool. So productivity, how much productivity, what is the percentage, what is the error, and accordingly everything is in a numerical scorecard. Okay. So you don't prove that you are exceeding expectation or you are not meeting expectation. Yeah. The scorecard says it all. I don't have to do anything. Anything. Other softer parts where values play. Yeah. Okay. It is all black and white on the tool. Okay. Okay. So and when there are team movements, moves from one project to another, moves from one manager to another, a handover was not happening before this digitized platform. Okay. It was all manual, manager forgets half of the inputs. Now everything is there. The reporting is changed, it goes with the package. Okay. So I move to a different team. Whatever my previous manager had in my tool, my manager changes, it moves with the whole package to the next one. So he would know what I did in the past 6 months.
Okay.
So when it comes to my annual performance review, my manager doesn't have to go run around who were the previous managers, because everything is there on the tool.
Exactly. Yeah, makes sense. Yeah. So, Saz, like in your opinion, what are the distinguishing features of digital HR, and when compared to the traditional HRM or EHRM? What are those features you would distinguish, and what does like
Digital
digital
HR
HR
is
look
more
like?
sharp.
Okay.
Yeah. Digital HR is more sharp, more to the point.
Okay.
At the same time, I would say I have been one of those who have transitioned from a rudimentary HR to a digital HR.
Okay.
Upcoming generations, when these pass outs from B schools and all, they are coming with a digital thought.
Okay.
For them, the softer part may be a concern, because that is equally important. You need to have a rationale, because the emotional connect cannot be expected out of machines.
True. Yeah.
So you need proper combi of your sense of understanding, your presence of mind, your emotional connect. At the same, your sharpness, your strategy, which comes through digital.
Okay. Okay. So, what technologies in particular, distinguish this digital HR function? Like initially, you used to use a digital HR only, like the GBK technology. It was also digital, and this Darwin is also digital. So, what is that particular thing which that distinguishes the process?
Before Darwin Box, I'll give you an example with the tools that would be easy to connect or relate. So before Darwin Box, we were using EmployeeWise. That is a similar tool, but did not have as many modern features as we look forward to.
Okay.
And there were flaws.
Mm-hmm.
So apart from the defined time or the shift timings by the organization, if anybody completes by swiping any hour, it used to take the attendance. And we tried changing those modules. That product did not allow that to happen. So if the company works, say the general shift is 9 a.m. to 6 p.m., somebody coming at 11 and logging it out at 8, the attendance is getting completed.
Okay.
But those things were not talking to the system when we wanted these implementations there. So maybe the software restrictions or the attitude of the product manager.
Okay.
Or maybe the product was very old and did not have all these scopes.
Okay.
Could be one of the things. So this product we have defined. So you come at 11, the system will show that your roster starts at 9 and you have come at 11.
Okay.
It will show.
Yeah.
It will show you. It will show your manager. It is going to reflect how many times in a month you have done it. Yeah. How it is reflecting in your payroll.
Okay. Makes sense. Yeah. So when it is concerning, to the HR department, what is the impact of this digitalization has had on your HR function? Like, for example, do you think there has been a significant business impact, or it has been more efficient, more effective? Like, how is it?
Yes, I would say definitely. Observing the results took some time because things doesn't happen overnight. And yes, today, if I look back 3 years back, there is a strategic change that has happened, which has been really positive, and things are more sharply happening now. Dependencies have reduced, and irrespective of your physical appearance, where you are, any information is required, things are at your group. At the same time, with complete control on data privacy and compliances.
Okay. So are there any particular HR challenges which digitalization helped you solve?
Challenges should be there. That keeps us poking, that keeps us pushing, that you think more. Otherwise, we'll become rudimentary. And this is a travel you cannot saturate at any point.
Okay.
Challenges should definitely be there. Yeah. So presently, I would say, like taking this pandemic scenario, we all are operating remotely.
Yeah.
100% of our organization is operating remotely. Initially, we felt how it would go to onboard people remotely.
Okay.
When it comes to mass onboarding, niche
Yeah.
positions, one, two, that is taken care well. But then we succeeded in onboarding batches of 20, 30 people during this lockdown.
Okay.
And they are all freshers. They are not all experienced employees. They are all freshers, lot of freshers. And things went pretty good. The extra effort that we had to do is, we had to explain them. We cannot assume that the much I know, you will also know.
True.
So I have to assume that a raw material, I need to mature you.
Yeah.
So that is the investment from our end.
Okay.
And we start jotting our SOPs on a day-to-day basis.
Okay.
Today we realize something, immediately go to the SOP and update it, so that next time we don't have to follow the same step again.
Okay. Yeah.
SOPs are very strong, and it is becoming stronger every day with every day's learning.
Yeah. Okay. So, what do you think are the new skill sets for this HR professionals in this digital age? Like, can you give me some examples or something about, the
Yes.
skill sets, what we need to possess?
Yes. HR professionals, what is more look forward these days is the analytical skills.
Okay.
And it has become one mandatory responsibility. Every year you have to bring in one small or big implementation.
Okay.
And which is only through an innovation. So that is one of your key responsibility areas, irrespective of at what level you are. Every level is going to have that in their KRA, and they have to do it. So that keeps you pushing. Like, think. How can you do it? Think.
Okay. Okay. So, for example, like if you're hiring anyone who has like less experience in HR, maybe he or she is a beginner. So, what is it skill set you see right now for this digital HR?
First thing in HR, when we review any profile, first thing is the attitude testing. You need to understand what the person is keen about.
Okay.
If you don't bring that in place, I think the other things we need not even review.
True.
If you see things are in line with your thoughts and what you are exactly looking at, if the attitude is in place, then further check, what kind of analytical skills. Give, if that person is a complete fresher, give them some scenario-based questions and let them respond with their due thoughts.
Okay.
Yeah, scenario-based questions, and give them some small assignments.
Okay.
See what they bring to your plate, and basically we see if 50% is in place, remaining 50% we can build.
Yeah.
First 50% not in place, you cannot take the responsibility to build 100%. Certain things have to be inbuilt, that is your attitude, plus your overall education and what you are keen to do in life. That is very, very important. Often we see one mechanical engineer not able to find something within his domain, the market is down, and he tries his hands in HR or admin.
Yeah.
He will be.
True.
I mean, people have succeeded, people do change, but then that's a long investment.
Yeah.
Versus something, if you take my example, you put me into finance or into compensation. Within HR also, you put me into compensation, I am not going to be a successful resource there.
Okay. So basically, attitude towards the job is really important.
Very, very important. You need to know your passion, not just for the sake of earning bread.
Yeah.
Initially, that's okay, but then slowly you need to know yourself. That is very, very important, especially when it comes to people management.
Okay.
Other things are machine. You
Yeah.
an SOP, follow the protocols, your work is done.
True.
Blindly you do.
Okay. So for even like for digital HR, you would say like there are commands which we have to follow, and it's easier for anyone to follow, but the attitude of that person who is dealing is important. Okay.
Yes. Yes. So while conversations, we sort of perform an unwritten psychometric test there.
Yeah. Okay. So like we were talking about data where you were telling the performance management data was being recorded in the Excel sheet. So like let's talk about data now, Sas. So what kind of workforce data are you currently collecting? Is it like recruitment, performance management, learning and development? Like what kind of data are you collecting right now?
So we have recruitment data. We
Okay.
have recruitment data will have candidates' entire profile
Mm-hmm.
along with personal information, their past experiences, educational details, family details, health details, etc.
Yeah.
Comes to performance, it starts from day one, formation of his or her KRAs, key responsibility areas, and then tracking what indications they are, like the KPIs, how much
Yeah.
they are achieving,
Yeah.
the key performance indicators,
Yeah.
and how their scorecard is progressing.
Okay.
There is a vigil there.
Mm-hmm.
And coming to the tractions, we do track early warning signal, which is the RAG analysis,
Okay.
red, amber, green,
Okay.
where that happens only through emotional connect. That doesn't happen through your digital platforms. You
Oh,
need to connect with people differently
yeah.
and then know what's going on in their mind and heart and what could be his or her next move.
Yeah.
And accordingly, you can make it out that, um, who is red or who is amber or which is green. Persons red, we kind of put them into a planned attrition.
Okay.
And at the same time, see if there are super performers there.
Mm-hmm.
We see what kind of a retention plan we can have. But we kind of keep them as a planned attrition.
Okay.
Sometimes they become high maintenance and that cannot be provoked because that becomes a weapon. Again, many others would start following the same. That is not a good practice.
Yeah.
Ambers, we try to involve with more high level touch points, and attempt is to convert those ambers into green.
Okay.
And then greens, we need to keep them green. Greens should not start converting. But yeah, with a reasonable time, one green converting into amber and then red over say period of 4 years, 5 years makes sense because this is the corporate. Nothing is the final destination.
Okay.
One needs to move. Even I have moved, but it has to be a reasonable move. Not that I joined today and within 6 months I say that I've got a better offer.
Yeah.
That is not done. Reasonable. You let the organization understand your potentials reasonably, and at the same time, you also observe the organization's pattern.
Yeah.
Unless like something goes really a mismatch, that is a story.
Okay. So you also, including recruitment, performance management, you also collect the compensation data of the employees, the turnover data, everything, right? So what is your opinion on the data quality you are collecting?
Data quality is on par with the compliances. We don't do anything beyond that. Compliances.
So you think you can rely on the data you're collecting right now and the Darwin box or whatever you're using right now is reliable for this data you're collecting, right?
Yes, yes. So basically, we sign an agreement with the service provider.
Okay.
And the agreement also includes non-disclosure agreement.
Okay.
So with that trust, and it will go to the court and the companies will get sued. See, my biometric is there with my organization, which is a highly sensitive information.
Yeah.
If they don't abide by the NDA, I can sue.
Okay.
I can sue. Similarly, you being my vendor, you are under agreement with me, you have signed the NDA. You breach it, there are going to be consequences.
Yeah.
And one successful moment I would like to share is, during this pandemic situation, when we onboarded people remotely.
Okay.
People from different cities, and there are freshers also in this lot.
Yeah.
So they've been asked during their selection that, do you have your personal system, desktop or laptop or whatever is the configuration? Are you fine to use them for office work?
Okay.
Do you broadband at home and all? And if you are willing to use your personal system for office work, office is put certain controls on that. Are you okay with that?
Okay. Yeah.
And all that, it is working successfully. There are people who are working on their personal systems, because a person onboarded from Noida, Pune, Delhi,
Makes
till
sense.
now they didn't get a chance to travel to Hyderabad in this lockdown period.
Yeah.
But their work is going fine. One such employee joined, and then and that was a case study for us. All of us checked from different angles, you know.
My system got stuck just now. You were telling one such employee and then it got stuck. Can you repeat it?
Okay, so you want me to continue?
Yeah, that one after you were telling an example and then it got stuck.
Okay. Yeah. So a clear example which
Okay.
happened recently. One of the employee was onboarded remotely, and she was working from a different city.
Okay.
And after 3 weeks, some personal exigency came into her life, and she tried, but things did not work out.
Okay.
And she was working with the under the cloud environment from her personal system.
Okay.
So that immediately prompted us that let's take this leeway and check where our controls are.
Okay.
And it was, and there is not a single leakage, though she was working from her system. There is no.
That's
and
amazing.
even the controllers, the IT infra guys,
Yeah.
when they are working in the office environment,
Yeah.
they cannot copy paste, they cannot do anything outside their controls.
Okay.
So that's a wow. I mean, now, like we as an organization, it's also a cost effective step that we are thinking. Why not asking every new joiner that do you have a system at home, and are you willing to use it for office purpose? I mean, those controls will be applying when you are logged into office environment.
Yeah.
You wrap the office, it is your personal system, you do whatever you want.
Okay. Okay.
If you are willing, we save our company assets.
True.
And slowly we can move away from desktops to laptops.
Yeah.
Which is more portable, and you know, every time your data is with you.
Okay. So as the next question is like, who is or who are the main people who are responsible for this data collection?
Data is basically taken care by the HR operations.
Okay.
So data is into their custody. And as business partner, I would have my employee related data, which he would not have.
Okay.
We have a bifurcation between compensation data, onboarding data, employee informations, personal information. All that will be protected with the HR operations.
Okay. So how are you storing this data, Sas?
It is there all on the digital platforms with encryption.
Okay, so is it like on the cloud, or like how are you actually storing the data?
Cloud. It is on the cloud and it is on the server. Yeah.
Okay. So
without office environment, you cannot access. From anywhere in the world, you cannot access.
Yeah. Makes sense. So to what extent does, the workforce data you have influence HR day-to-day operations on decision making? Like, for example, has it impacted the efficiency or effectiveness of the HR function in any way? Like, has the data has any impact on recruitment or selection, rewards and recognition, training and development? Like, the data you're storing has any impact?
Yes, obviously, because data nowadays, this era that we are living in, data is the first line that helps you to understand the basics about a particular profile.
Yeah.
So suppose as an HR, I read a particular resume.
Okay.
Reading the resume, I have certain observations there.
Mm-hmm.
This is that whether is it worth to invest further in reviewing that profile or not, that is a spec decline or spec approval that happens from there itself.
Okay.
So data is a very vital role. Here, things are more on digital platforms.
Okay.
Maybe in the coming days, there would be employees who might have not shown up in the physical office anytime.
Yeah.
Not required. And we can appoint people from any part of the globe. Systems are in place. Not required.
Yeah.
Yeah. So data is the first place where it is like the index. You see the index and you develop certain observations from there and then take it forward from there. It talks a lot. Data speaks.
Okay. So, has this data impacted the prioritization of the HR function within the organization?
Yes, it did.
Okay.
Like when we track the early warning signal,
Okay.
this is our priority, right?
Yeah.
Where should I focus more? Who are my problem child presently? And I
Yeah.
have to take special care for them.
Yeah. Okay. So, what are the main types of data analysis being reported? Like, is it descriptive data analysis, or else it is like predictive, or how is it?
It is less descriptive
Okay.
and more objective. More objective
Like,
because objective helps you to analyze better.
yeah.
Descriptive, very minimal, at all where required, if at all required.
Okay.
It is more objective. So you drill down your every small point, something that you are going to mention in a paragraph.
Mm-hmm.
You have points in a way, the gist of the paragraph comes into the objective.
Okay. Can you give me an example for this, as?
Say, if I say, tell me something about yourself, what you have done in the past 5 years, you are going to write me a paragraph.
Yeah.
Rather than that, if I ask you specific questions, right? What is your name? What is your qualification? What you did? Okay. From a BTech background, why did you do MBA HRM?
Yeah.
So you will do a small description.
Yeah.
Not a vast paragraph, right? And then what did you do? Why did you leave your previous organization? You worked there for 6 months and what happened after that?
Okay.
Yeah. So this is giving me the gist of a paragraph. At the same time, I have my analytical fields,
True.
which will help to analyze easily. And things often get aloof when you try to read descriptive.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So have these data analysis, enabled you to achieve better business outcomes, for example, in productivity or else in sales and profits, managerial decision quality? Like, can you give me an example, like how, this enabled you to achieve some better business outcomes?
Yes, the clarity and the transparency of the data.
Okay.
Say, like, for example, we process these rewards and recognition,
Mm-hmm.
which initially used to be seen as a very biased process
Okay.
when things were on human platforms.
Okay.
Now things are all digitized.
Mm-hmm.
Don't face such questions now because my group of people knows this year whose scorecard stands first. They know it.
Okay.
Know it. So this has become more transparent, self-addresses the queries of people. Okay. So this was your target and this much you have achieved. This is your error report and overall productivity and quality goes here.
Okay. Okay.
And out of 10, you know where you are. You don't have any question why somebody is ahead of you. Here is the data, and data is not a manual data. It is a system data.
Okay. Okay. So, what types of, digital tools are you using to collect the data? Is it Excel spreadsheets or SAP or Oracle HCM solutions? Like, there are like different. So what is that tool you're using right now?
We are using SAP.
You're using SAP. Okay. So how was it before SAP and how's it like right now?
For SAP, it was, before SAP, it was all on Excel sheets and Excel sheets were uploaded onto the systems.
Okay. Okay.
And there are always possibilities of human error.
Okay.
Now that things are on SAP, so say like when we recruit an employee,
Mm-hmm.
when we recruit an employee,
Okay.
from the time of his or her recruitment, they upload their profile, we see their candidature, their interview scores, everything is there on the system.
Okay.
Then offer letter goes, he or she accepts the offer letter,
Yeah.
the accepted compensation goes into the right field.
Okay.
After, while onboarding, you fill in your education, your family details, blah, 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 dependents, everything that goes to the fields, and there is no manual intervention.
Okay.
And once you submit, and the HR operations people person approves it, it talks to SAP.
Okay.
So you are not inputting anything manually.
Okay.
And then next year, you go through your performance review, you get a promotion, you get your increment hikes.
Yeah.
It is again the same platforms.
Okay.
And that field is talking to SAP. So manual intervention is.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. So what, factors do you think enabled the successful adoption of these tools? Like, is it do you think that, employee perceptions was an important factor, or data access and availability was an important factor, or else what was that important, factor for the adoption of these digital tools?
Yes. So when we connect with people, we hear out their concerns, what they feel, somebody talking negative about his or her experience with the organization.
Okay.
And that pushes us to think, how can we address that? Because I can explain you with some cover, I can explain you your problem.
Okay.
But then is it really a solution?
Mm-hmm.
Because target should be, if two people are bringing same kind of concerns, which means there is a problem in the system.
Yeah.
And let's bring it to a solution where it answers to those even who have not raised it so far.
Yeah.
And with these things, it started. It is a building. It is a continual transformational process.
Was managerial buy-in was an important factor, Sas?
Sorry?
The managerial buy-in. Do you think that managerial buy-in was an important factor?
Yes, it is. So you have to put up your business case.
Okay.
Until you put up your business case accurately with the manager, upper management doesn't worry.
Yeah.
Your employees your employees dissat, they will not go up to that. Okay. You explain, this is how it is. If we do this, this is going to be the impact, and this is going to be the return. Okay. These four fields you need to put up as a very strong business case.
Okay. So do you think that analytical and statistical, skill sets of individuals conducting HR analytics is an important factor for adoption of, the digital tools? Also the quality, yes, customization and the user ease of, available technology today. Are these things, yes, you think, are these, enabling the successful adoption?
Yes, these are very important factors for adoption of these kind of platforms.
Okay. So have you encountered like any difficulties or barriers to adopt and implement the data collection, like data analysis, or to take actions on the findings?
Yeah, like, any implementation, you will have to go through that resistance phase. It will storm out and then it will norm.
Okay. So
when it comes to, because we work on people.
Yeah.
First thing we have to understand as HR, that we are digitized, we are automated, we innovate a lot,
yeah,
we have critical minds, fine. But in the end, you don't manage systems, you manage people.
Yeah.
So the screw that works on you will not work on somebody else.
Yeah. So have you encountered any difficulties in the processes, while you're collecting the data and implementing the data collection?
Yes. We come across resistance, we come across queries, why this is important.
Okay.
And you need to explain them. Okay. You need to explain them why this is important and how is it mutually beneficial to the organization as well as to the employee.
Okay.
Because if I keep explaining the benefit for the organization, slowly lose the interest. What is it for me?
True.
But you explain the mutual benefit for both ends, then they will come forward.
So how is the support from the management for this implementation of data collection and data analysis? Or
I strongly feel definitely the capacity of the organization matters.
Okay.
And as an HR, you would be in a position to understand the financial capacities of the organization as well as the limitations. Okay. Accordingly, you need to fill in your plans.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, say some organization provides, let's say, like dry fruit packets to their employees every day. Yeah. You cannot bring that practice to Accelera immediately. You
True.
need to know the limitations.
True.
So within your limited resources, within your limitations, what best can you do?
Yeah.
Accordingly, you will put up the business cases.
Okay.
Say if you compare with your competitive organizations where you have lost your vital talents time on time, you cannot bring in their pay structure here. That is not a success.
Okay.
You will have to work on within your systems. Your friend comes to college on Mercedes.
Yeah.
You Activa.
Yeah.
You cannot compare. You do your best within your resources. You get in the best results out of it. Slowly achieve.
Okay. So in terms of culture also, like when you adopted the technologies, in terms of culture, did you face any barriers? Like how's the culture, changing?
Yeah, definitely. So let me tell you before and after Accelera, before me joining Accelera and after I joined Accelera. Before I joined Accelera, in terms of building the culture, nobody has really burnt their hands into that. It never came into their thoughts that is important.
Yeah. Okay.
Come to office, complete your deliverables and go home.
Mm-hmm.
Why is this important? Slowly we started. Now, day one, if I say that no, I need this much budget and I want this kind of activities, I won't get a support.
Okay.
First, you start with minimal investments, minimal involvements of finance, and use your creative minds.
Okay.
Form your small groups of people who you can share your ideas and they come forward to volunteer with in your initiative without expecting any sort of returns. And that is how slowly we started. Just take the example of Fundu's team, the Sportix team and all. Initially, we did things without taking any budget from the organization. But then the feedbacks came. Then slowly the employees' voices came. If we do this, what is there for the employee? What can we do to increase the participation? Okay, let there be something lucrative. If you do this, you may win this.
Yeah.
And slowly management came forward that without any budget, if you have done this, let me invest a little thing and see how it goes. A little investment gave a big result. And slowly you get. Now, like if I ask 50 lakhs every year, it is an easy go for me.
Yeah.
But initially 50 rupees has been a challenge. To buy a keychain, it has been a challenge.
Okay. So can you see any future, opportunities and challenges as your organization adopts the data-driven decision making based on, people, process, infra, the data quality, technology? Can you see any, future opportunities of challenges as?
Yes. These are the domains that we are talking. Nothing is supposed to be at a saturated point. You are never a genius.
Yeah.
And you should never be a genius. The day you think you are a genius, life stops.
Yeah, makes sense.
So you should be few steps back from the genius.
Okay.
And that keeps you, pushing. You find out what best.
Okay.
You go on. It's a continual journey. It's a travel. It's not a destination. It's a travel.
Okay. So HR digitalization and HR analytics can create more distance between people, like via maybe virtual format or something. But can also this reduce such distance via accessibility? What is your view on the impact of HR digitalization on employee inclusion? It can be inclusion can be in terms of feelings and actions.
Yeah, say for giving an example, an employee comes with a dispute on his payslip.
Okay.
Before digitalization, you depend on 5-6 different sources to answer that employee.
Okay.
Avail those sources, you are dependent on certain others.
Yeah.
So resolution time is more.
Okay.
Now with digital platforms, employee comes to you, things are at your fingertip, you know the solution, which source to apply. Answer is there with you, you make him sit with you and explain.
Okay.
Don't have to, and I have seen people suffering that I have raised a concern, it's been 20 days. And person says that I didn't find time because I'm dependent on others, that person did not get back till now.
True.
Now you have the
So,
solutions.
do you think employees have that feeling of belongingness after implementing the technology?
Yes, yes.
You know,
In
fit
fact,
the organization.
our Glassdoor reviews,
Okay.
shows that impact big time.
Okay.
So where it used to be in between 2.2, 2.5, 2.7, now we are much ahead. It is between 3.5, 3.8,
A huge difference.
and we don't have to really drive anything. Employees themselves, they go and they put in their opinion. I tell them, do it once in 20 days, once in a month. New joiners, we say that, today you go and put in your interview experience, your onboarding experience. After 15 days, if your opinion changes, please go there and put it. Yeah. So this has become an initiative from them. They feel valued that, okay, there is a platform. So I can indirectly contribute to the organization's growth as a best place to work. Today, my mood is off. Some bad practices happened in office. Let me go and put my fire there. It will reduce review, no?
Yeah.
5 such a review, it will reduce.
So,
and there is a change.
Employees are, feeling respected or cared of, with this digitalization when it comes to inclusion part.
Yes, they do. So initially they feel it is like too much. It is like you want head and tail of me. You need so much.
Yeah.
Then you will start asking how many hairs I have on my hair. Why that much detail?
Yeah.
But then slowly they understand where these things are used and is going to help him as well as the organization.
Okay.
And tomorrow when he comes with query, things are ready with us, and we can help him immediately. Okay. Things are working. So then he starts understanding that yes, this is important.
Okay. Just like few more questions then we are done. I know we are running out of time.
Sure, no, not a problem.
And also, Sas, do you think employees have that influence and taking the decisions by their work groups regarding the tasks? Do you think employees are, sharing their work related information openly with each other? When it comes to, after digitizing the HR, like how is it now when it comes to technology?
Yes, first, as I said, that we involve people.
Yeah.
When we start to do something new, when we think of doing something new, we start involving people. Before that, we prepare our root work.
Okay.
And then involving people through focus groups, through road shows. We buy in their opinion, make them understand how it is going to be beneficial.
Okay.
And then implement it. So there is less resistance. And even after implementation, see, you cannot make 100% happy.
True.
There would be percentage of people sitting, and slowly they also get tuned that yes, this is helping.
Okay.
So it happens.
So, how has HR
and in every forum, may it be betterment of workplace practices, may it be the cleanliness of washrooms or the resources available in the washroom or pantries, everything starting from performance review, the interviews,
okay,
the waiting time for the candidates, how the conversations happen, everything depends, everything matters, and that gets in that confidence that yes, we are maturing as an organization.
So how has HR digitalization and analytics changed or helped organizations during this global pandemic? Like, is it helping the business? How are people coping up with it, or what else? Like any few examples if you can give me.
Yeah, during this pandemic, let me say this is a complete new scenario, and we were not prepared for this kind of a scenario.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Immediately when the numbers started, when this element coronavirus entered India, and slowly the numbers started increasing, then it hit our state.
Yeah.
We immediately formed a core committee.
Okay.
Every function from IT infrastructure that is most important required.
Right now they are like the god, yeah.
Process excellence, they will give us a SOP.
Sas, I'm unable to hear you. 1 second. You able to hear me?
Now I can hear you.
Yeah, now I can hear you. Yeah, yeah. You were telling
Yeah.
process excellence and then it got stuck.
Yes, yes. So a finance guy will give us the financial angle, an IT infrastructure guy, the operations guy, the HR guy. Like we have taken, members from every corner, every possible corner.
Okay.
And curators are also there.
Okay.
Because challenges as a manager may not really go to their roots.
True.
And formed immediately a core BCP team, business continuity planning team. And day one, we discussed and we jotted down what is required.
Okay.
How many of them have laptops, company given laptops?
Okay.
How many of them don't have? How many can be procured? So say like 10% of your people are given company laptop according to the roles. Remaining 90%, even if the company is ready with the finances, can you procure those many? Because all the companies will put pressure on the vendors.
Okay.
They don't have stocks. Second line, how many of you have laptops or desktops at home? Are you okay to have office controls there and use it for office use?
Yeah.
This thing was done within a day. Next day, 50 people were equipped to work from home and reviews were happening. What is the effectiveness?
That's amazing.
Yeah. Next day, first day 50, next day 170 people work from home.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
After that 210 people.
Okay.
And then 8 days, 100% people work from home. And in the month of March, there is overproduction.
Okay.
There is overproduction.
So you're seeing a change when people are working from home and when they're working from office.
Yes.
Okay.
There is absolutely zero negative impact. Impacts are there like people don't have proper office furniture at home, working long hours, sitting in the couch or on a bed, especially people staying in PGs, they have very limited resources.
Yeah.
Other than that, so what is happening now, the work that you do in 8-9 hours, you need to take a break. There is no cafeteria, you have to cook your own food, again do it. At the same time, you need to get up because you need to change your posture. So that work is taking maybe 12 or 15 hours.
Okay.
And we are doing that. And we have overachieved.
That's amazing.
And we have got these COVID-related projects also.
Okay.
And these overachievements have made us pay them extra incentives.
That's
We were like, it was a big question when we started working from home as 100%. We don't know, maybe the productivity is secondary. Let us think for the safety of the employees first. But then the results that it came is boosting.
How are employees reacting to this as like, are they comfortable working from home or are you getting how are you supporting your employees? It's not about work, maybe it's like about their mental health during this time.
Yes. So week one, we did not touch base with the employees, but the BCP team, they meet over a stand-up meeting every morning.
Okay.
And we have bifurcated the whole organization into 4 groups because everybody's presence in one particular call, it gets cluttered.
Yeah.
So every day morning, 4 stand-up calls with each of these segments.
Okay.
And bigger issues, smaller issues, we get to know what is happening. And then the concerned person gets to know what is the resolution. Is it resolved or not? He has to get back.
Okay.
And then we created WhatsApp groups.
Okay.
Earlier, WhatsApp was just for networking and fun. Now that is business. So we have created a business minds group where from the CEO, all the leadership, all enablers are there in that part of the group.
Okay.
Plus from every operations are there.
Okay.
So business minds group. Now every frontline manager has a group, every project has a group, every vertical has a group,
Yeah.
and in each those groups there is one infrastructure guy, there is one process excellence guy, there is one HR.
Maybe that's easier to, know the pulse of the employee also. Like what, be it like technical issue, be it anything, they can easily connect on WhatsApp.
Yes, yes. So what's happening? My server is down, my VPN is falling. Infrastructure guy is there, he is raising, okay, give me 2 minutes. And he's resolving, now check. It is working.
Amazing, Saz. That's really
So you mail, you raise a ticket, you poke on WhatsApp, it's done. So first 2-3 weeks, rather first 10 days I would say,
okay.
we were getting more, and then they increased more remote desktops. Initially they gave like 20 remote desktops and they divided the organization into 20. You will have to use only your remote desktop, otherwise the load will be there on one system.
Okay.
And then they increased the number of remote desktops.
Okay.
So each remote desktop, there is a percentage of people who are going to work.
Okay. Okay.
And that has improved the productivity. Plus, to take care of their mental health, from the second week of working from home, we started virtual engagement.
Okay.
So we did challenges. What is your passion? What is your hobby that you are nurturing during the lockdown?
Okay.
You are planning. Somebody saying I did balcony garden. Somebody says I started reading a book. Somebody said I'm sharing a lot of recipes in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Painting and a lot of other hobbies, spending more time recitation with the kids and all. They all started sharing all those things. That thing we did first thing as a spreadsheet challenge.
Okay.
Then we did a fitness dance on virtual platform. So we have this PureFit app.
Okay.
PureFit app. One of us log into the Teams and we stream our screen.
Okay.
Others see the screen and they dance. Those who are not shy, they keep the video on and we record it.
So you're basically taking care of, the productivity, their mental health as well as the physical health as well. That's really
yes. And then we did Antakshari, we have done quiz, we have done Sudoku.
Wow.
Sudoku, lot of things.
So you're not making on employee engagement activities as well.
Yes, yes. So Wednesdays we say share some Gyan meal, right? How you can make a immunity boosting drink at home by mixing some spices and boil it, making production and all.
Yeah.
And then like it, next time when you make it, take a video and upload on Vibe.
Okay.
And people liking it, sharing it, giving their opinion, their engagement. Even if 20 people likes it.
True.
So first activity, we had 20 participation. Next activity, we had 88 participation.
Oh, okay.
We had 214 participations.
Oh my goodness. Okay. That's a lot. And also, what do you...
And I think on the virtual platforms, the participations are more because when we do it face-to-face in office, there are always shy faces who don't want to come forward.
Yeah.
Now you can still participate while keeping your video off, but you're still participating. I can hear you out.
So, what do you think about this as like, are any employees thinking that I'm missing going to, office and meeting other employees? And there are few employees who are introverts who don't want to actually show their faces and they're shy and now they're participating. How about, extroverts who actually want to get out?
People are missing. In fact, when we did the first survey, after we started working from home, 2 weeks thereafter, we took a survey.
Okay.
9% of people expressed work is going fine. It is a bit in terms of the ergonomic furniture and all that. Otherwise, work is going cool. But yeah, I am missing the infrastructure.
Okay.
I'm missing the exposure in office. I am missing my bum jumps.
Okay.
For a tea break, venting it out.
Yeah.
And family members get to know how productive I am.
True.
When it comes to office, my wife doesn't know that my boss is screwing me. But yeah, that is happening.
Now it's like a call, they'll just call up and then, How about
Exactly.
how are employees feeling about the privacy? You never know during your work hours, you never know when your manager is going to call. What is he going to say? And your family is just here. So how are they feeling about that?
So we created some guidelines in the beginning. You have to create a corner in your office, home as office,
Okay.
and stay away from distractions.
Okay.
Educate your family members that this is your working time.
True. True.
And take breaks in between. Let your teams know you will be back after 15 minutes. You're going for your breakfast, you're going for bath, etc., etc. And coming to the engagements, those who are extroverts, Teams is given to everyone, Microsoft Teams.
Okay.
So after this group of bum chumps, they get into a video call and they share their
Nice.
beer party. No. But yeah, people who dwell in hostels with very limited resources, for them office is a paradise.
True.
Big cafeteria, super AC offices.
Yeah.
9-10 hours you spend happily, and you become tired, you just go home in your cozy room, you sleep.
Yeah.
But now through the day you are in your silo.
Yeah.
Office is a paradise and they are missing it.
Yeah. And lastly, Sas, what employees are already feeling so comfortable at home, like maybe like 75% or 70% of the employees maybe are feeling better at home, working at home, and even offices are able to manage, organizations are able to manage this. IT infra is also all set. Do you think in future organizations would invest on this infra, getting into big fancy buildings and providing laptops, Wi-Fi's to the employees? And right, you also told me that your freshers are working on their own laptops. Half of the budget can be saved of the organization. Do you think it will even get back to normal?
Yes, that is a new trend, and that's a learning that every organization has acquired. And depending on the nature of business, obviously they're working on this model. And in fact, we are reducing our workspace by 50%.
Okay. It's already,
and we are going to use that saving for providing better infrastructure, better benefits to the employees.
True.
That will motivate them. We are going to give them easy loans. You buy your office furniture at home,
Yeah.
make it easy,
Yeah.
and give them some tax relaxation.
Yeah.
And we are in fact working, and that is not only towards the pandemic has given us this spark to think on those lines, and we are thinking of long term now. And at the same time, we'll keep some rules, like there would be a roster.
Okay. Yeah.
In a month, twice in a month, wherever there is a town hall meeting,
Yeah.
where there is a all hands meeting, you show up, trainings and all, you show up in office. Then there is a client visit, you show up in office. So those kind of rosters would be there, because completely working from home will not mature you as an individual.
Okay.
So you need to expose yourself to office, right? Otherwise you miss out on other learnings, that your personality development and all. You become like a silo, a frog in a well.
Yeah.
So that's important.
True.
So that will be that kind of roster. Plus, this model is going to help us arrest our female talents.
Okay.
Who join us as freshers, then they mature in their career, they get into their marriage, maternity, family, and then we tend to lose them.
True.
With this model, this brings in a wow work-life balance for them.
They need not actually come to office every day. They have to come to office only when it is needed.
So instead of coming to office for 22 days, you come to office for 2 days in a month. Rest of the days you be with your family, and they are happy.
Yeah.
They're doing. Yeah. So we will be encouraging the female talents, and that's one of the very happy factors for me, because I always struggle to bring up the females.
Yeah. I've seen that.
That's one of my passions. Free counseling I keep giving.
Yeah.
To my female talents.
Yeah, that was my last question, Sas. And this is the end of my interview. And do you think or else you feel anything I have missed asking you or something about the whole digitization?
Pretty much everything is covered, I think. And the gist out of this is every HR should have a mind as well as a brain.
Okay.
Yeah. Only mind will not work. Only brain will not work.
True.
Need to have a combination. Need to have a rationale.
Okay.
When it comes to core operations, only brain may work.
Okay.
And give empowerment.
Yeah.
Make them feel in your role, you are the king. If
Okay.
I make you feel that, you will do your best in that role. You will do it with ownership. But if I micromanage, if you say, no, you do only this much, you'll give up after some time. So let them not saturate, give them the empowerment.
Okay.
And
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much for taking your time, Saz. I know you're super busy, but even though thank you so much and to schedule this talk. I'll just stop
my
recording.
privilege.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed equally the conversation with you.
Thank you, Saz. 1 second. I'll just stop recording this.